Brian Carter! Brian Carter!
What's up? Hey. By a show of hands, how many of you like raising your hands?
Oh, yeah.
And by a round of applause, how many of you like clapping? And by a show of middle fingers, how many of you hate comedians that ask questions?
There we go.
That was mean, dude. My dad was verbally abusive, so every night at the dinner table, we had to listen to his puns. My parents screwed me up. They were like, Brian, you've got so much potential. Why aren't you using your potential? What I heard was, we don't know why you suck so much right now, but you better not suck that much in the future. And no matter how good my life gets, it's never enough. Like, even if I were Jesus, I'd be like, well, I'm not the whole Trinity. These other guys get so much attention. I got this friend who has this really big ego, so I called him up. I was making fun of him the other day, and he said, I forgot, you have almost as big an ego as me. Really? Like, I can't have an equally big ego? Almost as big. Yeah. Yeah. So, testosterone screws up your thoughts, right? That's right. Thank you. Thank you for the support. So, here are some thoughts that testosterone has been feeding into my brain. You could beat up a Navy SEAL. You would kick ass if you knew a martial art. You could start a family in your 70s. You have super strong sperm. You could probably spooge in the dirt and make a baby. So I work from home, and sometimes I gotta call up real companies, and I get the receptionist, and they're like, who should I say is calling? I say, Brian Carter. Where should I say you're calling from? My house. They're not impressed. Have you guys seen Google Goggles? Like, you can go out on the street, hold up your phone to a restaurant, and knows what the restaurant is, and tell you reviews, and decide if you want to go in. It's cool. So what if we could do this with women in bars? Oh my god, 127 reviews? Too many reviews. Let's see. Overpriced small portion size. I don't know what that means. Let's see. Long wait, poor service. That sounds familiar. Facebook's pretty amazing, right? So what is Facebook? You know those emails you've been getting from your uncle, like, who's 60 years old, and he sends you these pictures of dogs dressed up in Halloween costumes? Well, Facebook is that with 12 people going, oh, that's funny. Remarkable advance for our species. You ever get wet cat food on your hands and you just wipe it off on the cat? It's eating and it thinks you're petting it, you know. Thinks you're doing some kind of favor for it. Which really you are, because what do? They sleep and then they lick themselves all day long. It's really just a snack for later, right? We're different at different ages, right? In your 20s, you're like, let's do some shit. In your 30s, you're like, let's buy some shit. In your 40s, you're like, we sure did some shit. In your 50s, if you're a man, you're like, what happened to my shit? If you're a woman, you're like, I'm hot as shit. In your 60s, you're like, why can't I shit? In your 70s, you're like, I can't remember shit. In your 80s, you're like, I'm old as shit. I don't know what you do in your 90s, but if you make it to your 100s, you're like, shit, I'm on the Today Show. Thank you guys, Brian Carter.